Matthew! Matthew!
Why you just tell him the truth, eh? Just tell him what happened. I'm not losing him.
Matt! Matthew!
Hi, Matt. Oi, you came there for what? Said hello, didn't I?
Stay away from me.
You what?
I'll put it simply, shall I? I want nothing to do with you, all right?
You're very full of yourself all of a sudden, aren't you? Well, you want to be careful who you're offending here.
I'm not scared of you anymore, Steve.
Is that right?
Yeah, because you're going down.
I don't think so.
Well, you can say what you like. Lie to your blue in the face. It won't make any difference. They still convict you.
Says who?
Well, not just me. I spoke to my solicitor. And in 5 weeks' time, I'm getting out of here. You're not. Not for a very long time.
Take a walk. No, I don't think so. Matt! Matt! You just did yourself a whole world of trouble, son.
I didn't do this to him.
Come on.
Matt, tell him! Tell him, Matt! Matthew, tell him I didn't do it! Matthew!
Matt? Can I go in now, please?
Steve! How can you do this to me? How can you stand down there and take the blame?
Will you get him away from me?
Just tell him the truth, Steve, please!
You soon settled in Walford.
Yeah. It wasn't long after buying the club that I had new friends. A whole new way of life. I felt as if I'd come home.
Mr. Owen, a nightclub can conjure up the image of a shadowy underworld figure.
Not at all. It was a friendly, respectable club. You know, I even ran salsa classes to give the local pensioners a good night out.
How soon after arriving in Walford did you meet Matthew Rose?
He was about one of the first people I spoke to. You know, we got chatting. We're both into music. Both liked the same bands.
You became friends.
Yeah, I like Matt. He seemed like a great kid. I felt sorry for him.
Sorry for him?
Yeah, his parents were moving away from the area. He was finding it hard to cope. I thought I'd give him a break.
How did you do that?
Matt kept hanging around the club. He seemed pathetic. He wasn't a professional or anything, but I decided to let him DJ.
Why was that?
To give him back some self-respect. You know, he was at a low point. I just wanted to show him that. I just wanted to show him that someone cared.
Whose idea was it to bury Miss Duncan's body?
I'm sorry to say it was mine. It sounds unbelievable now, but Matt never meant to. You know, he was standing there. He was shocked. He was distraught. I had to do something to help him. I mean, he'd only done it to stop her from killing me.
Would you say you panicked?
Yeah. Yeah, at first. But Saskia was just lying there on the floor. I mean, no matter how much trouble she'd caused, I had once loved her. And I thought to myself, one life's already been ruined. Why ruin another one?
You're saying you wanted to help Matthew?
I thought hiding the body would be the easy way out. But I was wrong. It's haunted me ever since. And I just can't get the image of her lying on that floor out of my head.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Mr. Owen, I put it to you that you have bullied and manipulated Matthew Rose ever since you struck the fatal blow that killed Saskia Duncan.
I'm sorry, that's not true.
I'm sorry, Mr. Owen, but when it comes to telling the truth, you can hardly expect to be believed, can you?
Look, I admit that when it comes to this, I have lied.
Only because you have no option but to admit it. Some of your lies have been quite staggering. For example, you're helping Mrs. Fielding look for her sister.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how terrible I felt about that, but I was protecting Matthew.
Would you agree that Saskia Duncan had been making your new life a misery?
Yeah, I would.
She'd vandalized your car, ransacked your flat, ruined your relationship with Melanie Healy.
That's correct.
You must have been running out of patience with her.
I was sick of her. You know, I just wish she'd go away.
I put it to you that when Saskia Duncan burst into your office on Valentine's Day, your patience finally ran out.
You're right. It did.
Whereas Matthew Rose had no motive whatsoever in wanting Saskia Duncan out of the way.
He was trying to stop her from strangling me.
And as my client insists, he was merely trying to pull her off you.
Which is what he should have done. He should never have picked up the ashtray.
Why did you report Matthew Rose as having committed a murder?
Because the state Matt was in. I couldn't see any other way out.
But hadn't Mr. Rose been in a state ever since Miss Duncan's death?
Yeah, because he couldn't cope with what he had done.
So I put it to you again. Why wait to report Matthew Rose as having committed a murder?
I knew Matt was going on the run. You know, I wanted the police to find him before he made things worse for himself.
Or isn't the truth that you were worried that the police had found Miss Duncan's body and were gathering evidence?
That's why I went to find him. To talk him into giving himself up.
I put it to you, Mr. Owen, that you were trying to save your own skin. You were determined to get your lies in first.
You know, that's funny. I thought you were accusing me and Matt of planning these confessions together.
Indeed, which leads me to my next question. Do you not agree it's a coincidence that you both decided to go to the police and say exactly the same thing in the same 24 hours?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
So, what you'd have the jury believe, Mr. Owen, is that at first you didn't report Matthew Rose to the police because you were protecting him. However, you later did report him to the police because you were protecting him.
That's right, yeah. Things had changed.
Yes, they had. Miss Duncan's body had been found and you knew the game was up. I have no more questions.
Swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Matthew, what was your first impression on meeting Mr. Owen?
I was very impressed. He had the car, the money, the clothes. I suppose I wanted to be like that.
You wanted to be friends with Mr. Owen?
Definitely. Steve was going places. I wanted him to take me with him.
How were you feeling generally at this time?
Well, my mum and dad had just moved to Leeds. I felt a bit deserted.
Did this contribute to you and Mr. Owen becoming quite close?
Probably. I looked up to Steve.
And how did you feel when Mr. Owen offered you a job?
I was on a high. When we were getting the club ready for the opening night, it felt like we were a team. It was probably the best time of my life.
What was your first impression of Saskia Duncan when you met her?
I liked her at first.
You say at first?
I could see she was trouble. She was too desperate to get Steve back.
What happened when Saskia Duncan turned up at the club on the opening night?
Well, Steve had asked me to watch out for her, but she managed to sneak past me and go into the office.
And how did you feel about that?
I felt like I'd let Steve down. So, I went into the office to see if he was all right.
And what happened when you entered the office?
Saskia was on top of Steve, trying to strangle him. So, I grabbed her to pull her off. And she was like a wild animal. And she attacked me and threw me back and then flew at Steve again.
And what did she do to him?
She was trying to strangle him with his tie. He grabbed the ashtray and he hit her. He didn't mean to, it was just a desperate attempt to get her off of him. And that was it, she was dead.
How would you describe your reaction to this?
I can't describe it. One minute I was laughing and joking. Next, I'm looking at a dead body.
What did you do when you realized that she was dead?
I couldn't believe it. I grabbed the phone to call the police. But he wouldn't let me.
Mr. Owen stopped you from reporting it? How?
Steve comes across as very, very cool. But there's another side to him. Just underneath the surface. And when he turns nasty...
How nasty was Mr. Owen?
When you've looked up to someone and trusted them, and suddenly they turn round to you, as if to say, you're going to be next. It's very frightening.
Your reaction when Saskia Duncan's body was found?
I couldn't handle it. I just wanted to get away.
Did you tell Mr. Owen this?
Well, to be honest, he caught me trying to steal some money from his office. He closed the door and said I wasn't going anywhere.
What did you think he was going to do?
I thought I'd end up like Saskia on the office floor.
You feared for your life?
I pushed past him and ran out, got Teresa, and left Wolford straight away. I'd let it slip to Steve that she knew about Saskia. I thought he'd kill us both.
Matthew, could you explain why you stole Mr. Owen's credit card?
Because I was desperate for money to get away. He terrified me. He didn't hit me. He's far more clever than that. He kept telling me that if I said anything to anyone, he was going to make sure that I get sent down for life. He told me I wouldn't be able to survive in prison. And by now, I believed him. So I'd do anything to get away.
Thank you, Matthew. I have no more questions.
Mr. Rose, you claim you've been intimidated all along by Mr. Owen.
I don't claim. I was.
Then why didn't you simply move away?
Because Steve wouldn't let me.
Well, Mr. Owen wasn't with you 24 hours a day.
But Wolford was my home.
But I thought you said you felt neglected there, deserted.
I did. But that's where my friends were, my business was.
But didn't you also say you neglected your business and friends?
That doesn't mean I'm going to move away on my own.
If you were so terrified of Mr. Owen, why continue working there?
I had to try something to get through it.
You're saying you tried to get through it by working at the scene of where the killing took place?
Yeah, as if nothing had happened.
But you said that not a day went by that you weren't haunted by Miss Duncan's death.
And sometimes I would pretend that I was all right, so that Steve wouldn't get suspicious.
Oh, you pretended?
Yes.
Why did you accept money from Mr. Owen? I shall ask you again. Why did you accept money from Mr. Owen?
It was just easier.
And why did you lie about receiving the money to the police?
I thought it looked bad.
You're right, Mr. Rose. It looks very bad indeed. You see, you say, and I quote, you panicked. You couldn't handle it. You were haunted by it. You lost it. You had to get away. But at the same time, you insisted you never did anything wrong. I put it to you, these are the actions of a guilty man.
I saw it happen. That was enough.
Everything that went wrong. Miss Duncan's death. Falling out with your parents and friends. Stealing. Running away from the police. You say all this was Mr. Owen's fault. You aren't to blame for anything.
It was his fault.
I put it to you, Mr. Rose. Ever since you lost your temper and killed Miss Duncan, knowing the affection Mr. Owen had for you, you manipulated him into protecting you and giving you money.
That's not true.
When he finally refused to do this, you stole his credit card and went on the run.
I was trying to get away from him.
You were trying to get away from justice. Is it not true you were preparing to leave the country? Is it true or not?
Yes, it is.
I have no more questions.
If the foreman would please stand. Members of the jury, have at least 10 of you agreed on your verdict?
Yes, we have.
What are your verdicts? Please only answer guilty or not guilty. In respect of Stephen Owen, on the count of murder.
Not guilty.
In respect of Matthew Rose, on the count of murder.
Not guilty.
In respect of Stephen Owen, on the count of manslaughter.
Not guilty.
In respect of Matthew Rose, on the count of manslaughter.
Guilty.
No! He's innocent! My son is innocent! You call this justice?
Steve! You weren't even going to say hello.
What are you doing here, man?
I'm a free man. I can go wherever I want.
Yeah, but
Well, how did I get out? Well, it's a great thing, the British legal system. Never heard of appeals. New evidence shows up and it changes everything.
what are you talking about? What new evidence?
We'll find out. Maybe we should meet up and have a chat about it.
You want to have a chat?
That's right. Just like old friends. You do still want to be my friend, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do. If that's what you want. Is it what you want then?
Well, I don't know. I think it'll be more fun if you have to guess what I want. What I'm going to do.
What do you mean, what are you going to do?
To you. See you around. Not yet, it isn't.
Happy New Year. I just want to say how happy I am that you're out, man. You know, I know things never works out exactly as we planned, but the main thing is we're both innocent and we're both free.
Is that right?
But what happened is history now. I bear you no ill will.
That's big of you.
What did you say, Al? We just shake hands, let's try and put this whole mess behind us.
I'd stay out of my way if I was you.
I ain't scared of you, man.
Well, you should be. I ain't the same little kid you used to push around. I learnt a lot of things inside and made a lot of very useful friends.
If I find out that was you.
You do what? Eh?
You put him in his place?
I ain't even started yet. Started.
Please.
You see? In the end, all that you have left to show for yourself is the life you've led. And the only person you have to make peace with is yourself. I've done it. What about you, Steve? Are you going to do the right thing and acknowledge the waste, the damage and the misery you've caused? Or are you going to die, snivelling and wretched?
I don't want to die.
But we all die, Steve.
I don't want to die.
And at the last, all we have is our dignity.
Someone help me, please.
There is no one to help you. It's just you and me. No, this is how it ends. Everything's stripped away until all that's left is who you are. A pathetic little runt begging for life with snot on your face. Yeah.
Matthew! Oh, God. Matthew, put the lighter down.
It's okay, it's finished.
Matthew, put it down!
You see, I don't care anymore. It's all just... water off a duck's back.
Are you mad?
No, but I was on the way.
You said you were just going to talk to him.
That's all we did.
And what's my shoe doing here?
It's a visual aid. You see, Steve? It's Teresa's shoe. A blouse I picked up in a charity shop. A petrol can full of water. And talk. That's all it was. Claudia is still in America for all I know. I haven't seen her. Are you listening? The door wasn't even locked. The police, the light bulbs, none of it was true. But it didn't have to be, did it? I didn't need any of them. I took the power back, all by myself.
Matthew, what have you done?
I don't expect you to understand, Teresa. But thank you for sticking by me. And be happy. You deserve to be.
You're leaving.
I can't stay. Not now. Not after.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. But Steve's given me a few quid to get started.
What about us? And me?
Try not to think too badly of me.
I love you.
No.
Isn't that enough?
I wish.
What do you want, Matthew?
The one thing I can't have. But this. This'll do.